This is Cannaramic, and we're bringing you cannabis like you've never seen it before.
This is Cannaramic, and we're bringing you cannabis like you've never seen it before. I'm Cyrus, your host for today's talk, and shout out to SOHH.com, the number one source for all things entertainment-based in the hip-hop world. And today we had the luxury of talking to J. Lauren, this beautiful woman right here that's smiling. Just to kind of give you guys some background, she's signed to Dre London's Ultra Records, reggae singer, songwriter. She does it all. Great relationship with Ziggy Marley, legendary Ziggy Marley. She has writing credits that go with Ashanti. She has a Grammy to her name, VH1 credentials. She's an influencer for Vape Dynamics. She's one half, or a part of the I Do group with Tragdilla. Newest record is Tears, and there is an EP on the way through Ultra Records, right?
Facts.
So yes, thank you so much for taking part in this discussion.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Not a problem. So we're going to kick right into it. I know we talked for a few moments before this, J. Lauren, but really want to talk about, growing up. You have roots that go to Hawaii, to Seattle. I know you're kind of based in LA, and kind of just cracking this open. What was your first experience with cannabis like? Was it more in your teenage years, your later years? What was your first experience?
So yeah, I grew up in Hawaii, and I moved to LA at 15, at 8. Yeah, moved off the island at 15 to Seattle for high school. And then right after high school is when I moved to LA. So 18 years old, moved to LA, and I hadn't smoked any weed before until I actually got to LA. So that was the first time I tried cannabis. And it was here in beautiful Los Angeles.
Wow, so it took all the way until Los Angeles before really being able to kind of appreciate all of things cannabis related, right?
For sure. I mean, I was around it. I never really saw too much of it when I was on the island. But in Washington, definitely high school, I do remember seeing people smoke it or this and that. I just didn't really have an interest in it yet. And then when I moved to Cali and I kind of gained more knowledge about it, I was like, all right, let me test this out, see what it's about.
How did you get that knowledge? Was it just kind of who you hung out with? Was it just like a culture thing? What was it?
Yeah, it was just the people that I was around, because before, you grow up with this people telling you that it's a bad thing, that it's a drug, this, that. And so when I moved to Cali and the group of people that I was around, they used it for health benefits. It wasn't like, let's just get stoned and sit on the couch. They were like, no, this actually physically helps my pain in my body. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let me give that a shot. So.
Wow. So I kind of want to backtrack slightly. Having lived in both Hawaii and Seattle, and of course being out there in LA, I really want to know kind of what you feel about the movement to legalize adult usage of cannabis, suffering so many drawbacks in Hawaii, versus Washington, where it's very highly embraced and it's a whole cannabis culture out there.
Well, you got to understand, even though Hawaii is a part of the United States, it's still an island, and everything on the island moves a little bit slower. So that's first off. But Hawaii actually legalized medical marijuana back in 2000, just 4 years after California did. But it took them 15 years to set up a dispensary system. They just got their first dispensary just a few years ago. So I think, that has a lot to do with it. It's just the momentum isn't as fast moving as California or Washington, So, I mean, I know people on the island definitely are wanting it to get legalized and be recreational, just so it's easier to access. Because from what I know, there are a couple shops, but it is very hard for people to get their medicine out there.
Absolutely. So kind of, I want to definitely open up this discussion about the medical cannabis license. When did you get your first medical cannabis license? When did you actually pursue it? Why did you want to have one? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I was 21 or 22 maybe. And for me, I'm a very physical person. I grew up dancing, and that's originally why I moved to Los Angeles, was for dance. I was background dancing for artists and whatnot. So dancing, hiking, just being in physical pain from that was a big thing. But mostly I've been suffering from psoriasis since I was 15. And, when I first got it, it was really bad. It was chronic severe psoriasis. And I did every medication under the book that you could possibly try, and steroids and this and that to help it. And a a friend told me, marijuana is really good for pain. Maybe it'll help with the pain that psoriasis gives you. And ever since I started smoking weed, it's helped relieve my stress. Like, and my skin is like really, really great. It's nice and clear. Like occasionally if I'm overstressed, overworked, or if I get sick, because psoriasis is a immunity disorder, then, my body will break out in those rashes that psoriasis causes. But weed has really, really helped just to calm my nerves. If there's any pain with it, it just eases it. So I'm not freaking out and trying to scratch all the time. And, that was like a really big part of marijuana for me and why I wanted to get my medical card.
Absolutely.
So I can have that access.
Because I know with a lot of people, like they just think, especially people who are opposed to it, they just think, oh, people just want to like, get into a corner, smoke, and that's it. But no, like, pain alleviation, stress, anxiety. A lot of musicians use it for the creativity aspect. So
100%.
So much stuff that it seems like it really helps.
It does. It's a beautiful plant. And I think what's really awesome about it is that there's so many different types of flower that do so many different things. You can get one flower that sparks that creativity and keeps you alert and awake. And then you can smoke another strand, an OG, an indica, and then you're more relaxed and you can sleep easy. It dissolves that pain. So there's not just like, oh, let's go get some weed and you're smoking whatever. Like understanding the plant is where you get that great education and you understand, how it can personally help you.
Absolutely. And what type of card do you have? Because again, for everyone that's watching this and they're like, oh, wow, that sounds great. I have anxiety. I have stress. This might be something I want to look into. Are there varieties of card? Is it just one standard card?
I mean, I think we just had one standard card. So the first time that I got it, I went into a physical doctor office, like right off Sunset Boulevard. And they took me within 15 minutes and asked me what I needed it for. And then they issued me a card, like a temporary one, and then they mailed the actual physical card. So I don't know if there's different types of cards. That I would personally have to research. But ever since that expired, I started renewing my cards and getting new ones online, actually just like this through Skype.
Wow.
There's a company, I think it was on WebMD, where you can Skype in and talk with a real physician who can help get you your medical card right on the comfort of your couch in your home. And it's amazing. It's really, really helpful. And they email you that day. So you have a certificate in your email and then they mail you a physical copy as well. So.
Wow. And I guess let's talk a little bit more about having the actual card, going state to state. Is it something that, hey, if you're in a medical approved license state with marijuana or with cannabis rather, I guess, do you just feel like you have like this magical Avengers card that you just keep with you everywhere you go?
I mean, yes and no, because I feel like different states have slightly different laws. I mean, yes, if it's medical or it's recreational, it kind of fits the same standards within all of them. But I still get a little sketched out on certain places, and I don't personally like to travel with it if I'm going somewhere that I'm like unsure about. For me, I actually need to get mine renewed. It just expired a couple months ago. And so this was my first time experiencing not having it. And now I was testing it out to see, the difference between having my medical card and now that California is recreational. I was like, okay, well, I can just go into my same shop and get it. But it costs so much more because of the tax. If you are just recreational, they'll tax you 15 to 20% on your sales. So you're paying an extra, depending on how much you're buying, like $20 to $50 extra. So if you have that medical card, like it really, really helps not only financially, but there's differences between like how much you can have on you. So like recreational without a card, you can have up to an ounce, or you can buy up to an ounce of weed. If you have your medical card, you can buy as much as you want. Even with growing, if you are recreational, you can grow 6 plants. And if you are medical, you can grow, it's like 100-acre per or 100 square foot thing. The laws are different. So it really just depends, again, on what you need it for and how much you need and this and that. It breaks down to what's best for you.
And you kind of already answered it, but I'm just curious for people who are very interested in, taking that next step and going the medical license route. Is going to like your local physician the best option? Is it looking online to find a location? I guess what's like the best way?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have the power of the internet, so that's really helpful. Yeah. That's how I found the first shop. Was I just went on Yelp and searched like doctors, like 420 friendly doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And that led me to that. And then more recently is I started searching on Google, and that's how I found that online physician where I could do it, you know, over Skype. So I think there's so many options, especially, you know, in a legalized state, that it's just up to you if you want to see a physical doctor or if you want to search and do it online. Like there's so many options. So definitely do the research and find, you know, what's best for you.
Yeah, for sure. And you kind of already touched on it, but I definitely want to, again, delve a little bit deeper on basically how many doors are open and kind of what is that experience once you actually had your medical license. Just kind of going back, thinking back to when you first finally obtained it, and just talk about that change for the positive, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it definitely back then for sure, before it was recreational, like I definitely felt safer versus like driving around in my car and having marijuana on me. If I was to get pulled over, like I would be okay having my car. So like that definitely gave me that comfort.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, and I guess just, you know, for people who are like, oh, wow, I finally have it, but I have a run-in with law enforcement or an authority, I guess, what is that procedure? Like you just kind of flash your card and you're good to go?
Yeah, you show your recommendation. That's what it's called. The doctors give you a recommendation, and that's what you need along with your state ID when you go into these shops. That's what you have to show. So if you're getting pulled over, you got to show your ID and your insurance. If you have marijuana on you, you show your doctor recommendation, and it's usually just a sheet of paper, and it shows your certificate, and they're valid for a year. And you know, depending on how much you have, like you know, if you have your medical card, then you're allowed to have a certain amount where they can let you go without a problem. And nowadays you can travel with it. You can have weed on you, check it, bring it in your pocket as you get on the plane. Like,
wow.
Yeah. If you're going to other states that are recreational, you're allowed to carry it with you.
So God forbid you have a detour and like going to like a place that right, that's a whole new can of worms, right?
I'd be so scared. Actually, I was just watching this show before we started called Weed Etiquette. And he was talking about how kids are getting taken away from their homes from just by having marijuana, like in the state of Kansas, like they're so strict on it, like it's considered, you know, an extreme drug. And so they're taking their kids away if they come into the home and see that there's any marijuana. That, you know, it's mind blowing to me. And it's so heartbreaking and sad that some states are so behind on this forward moving, you know, lifestyle and the future of it.
And okay, so kind of moving along, sticking on the medical license discussion, I really want to know, with more states pushing for the legalization, right, for adult usage, there kind of becomes this big debate, right? Medical license versus recreational / adult usage. And I kind of want to know, is that line's getting more blurry? Kind of, you know, does the need for a medical license kind of lessen as more and more states really aim to have legalization?
I mean, I think that's hard to tell. I think it ultimately comes down to just like the state and the people that are running that state and that have that old way of thinking, you know, and they don't want to approve something that they think is so harmful. So I don't know if that breaks down to like it being medical or recreational. I mean, I think it's definitely, it opens a lot of doors when it is recreational. And I think it's beautiful. I know it does impact like the farmers and that industry, and that's a whole other topic and whatnot. But I know that there's a lot of people that need marijuana for, you know, things like psoriasis or MS or Crohn's disease, and it's cancer. Like there's so many things that it can cure. And at the end of the day, I think it's also obviously big pharma. You know, they want people to take these pills, these prescriptions that are proven to harm your body versus heal them. And this plant is, you can never OD. No one's ever died of marijuana, you know? So I think it's just getting those types of people to see it in a different perspective, which hopefully they do.
Gotcha. And you know, it's interesting because recently we were talking to Red Man, and he like kind of like treated the cannabis plant as almost like the plant off the Black Panther, where it's so magical and mythical, and like in the sense of there's so much to it, and like we only know like I guess the CBD section and the THC section, but there's so much more to this plant. I just kind of like I'm just throwing this randomly at you, but just how magical and how much more exploration is there with the cannabis plant?
I think it's so vast, and I agree. It's definitely extremely magical. I mean, it's from the earth. It's an all-natural product, and it's something that's been around for thousands and thousands of years. Yes. And now that we've been able to study it, and with the science that we have they're finding every single day more and more information about this plant. And it's not even like to the point where it's just the benefits of you smoking it or drinking it or putting it on your skin topically. It's what it does outside of it. The plant itself creates hemp, which can do paper, clothing, housing. Like, there's so much this incredible plant can do that I don't understand why people are so against it. Like, when there's scientific proof that it is such a miraculous plant.
Absolutely. I want to crack into the dispensary discussion. Okay, so you have your medical license, you have all these recommendations, but really, what are the first steps that people should be aware of or go through after they've received the medical license? So you get it, and I guess, I know a lot of it is on yourself doing the research and kind of looking at Yelp, like you said, maybe, but just kind of give us that walkthrough once you have your license and trying to maybe not even know what a dispensary is.
Yeah, so Yelp is what I used in the very beginning. And then ever since I was introduced to the medical marijuana world, I discovered weed maps, which is one of the biggest and bestest way, I personally think, to find not only the dispensary, but the type of product that you're looking for. So I solely rely on weed maps. And it's such an easy app. You download it, you type in like what location, your zip code that you're in, and it pulls up all the dispensaries near you. So then within the app, you can click on, okay, this one's close to me, let me click on this one. And you open it up and it shows you the menu. So then you get to see what flower strains they have. You get to see what topicals they have. You get to see, what kind of edibles, this, and that. And then you can cater like what it is you're looking for. For me, I'm a really big supporter in CBD, and I take my CBD topical every single day. I give it to my dog as well. And so I always call before and I'm like, hey, do you guys carry Papa and Barkley CBD or the Vet CBD before I come in? So that way I'm not going in and I'm being like, hey, do you have this? And they don't have it. I'm like, dang it. Well, I just wasted my time and gas driving over here, It's so weed maps I fully support. And I think it for anyone that's new to, the marijuana world and you're looking for something, go on weed maps. And for instance, if you don't know what type of flower works for you, you can, when it's like, okay, I want to smoke weed, but I don't want to get sleepy. Okay, so then that means you're looking for a sativa. So you can search under all their sativa flowers, and they'll give you a very minor breakdown of what each strand does. But if it's not enough info, say it's my favorite strand, Tangy, all you got to do is Google medical strain Tangy and find your facts on it. And then, the internet is so powerful, and all you got to do is just type a question and you'll find a lot of answers out there.
No, gotcha. And I guess what's the best way, to define the best cannabis for a particular condition? And does it still go back to going to a physician, or are you really just kind of, look, the internet has all the answers, look, and, maybe even find an online physician and kind of just have a one-on-one with that person?
Well, I don't really think the physicians are the ones to recommend you to a specific flower or specific thing. I mean, maybe I personally have never had the experience with the physicians I've talked to about what product I should specifically get. I've had a lot of help within the shops. So you can even just have a day where you go to your local shops and talk to the people, because the bud tenders that are there, they're well educated on, the products they're selling. So you can be like, hi, like I experience a lot of physical pain. What's something I can use? I don't feel like smoking. I'm not a fan of smoke. Like, what can I use other than that? And they'd be like, perfect. Well, here's this, a pill form, or here's an edible form, or here's a topical form. This is a cream, a salve that you can rub on your joints, and you can find that pain relief, and without having to do the smoking thing. And, because of course there is like the THC in it, you can still, by rubbing it, get that, psychoactive feel that gets you that little bit of that high. So there's so many different ways and so many different products out there.
Gotcha. I want to ask you real quick, going back to your dog and the whole CBD, does your dog have a medical license? No.
My dog does not have a medical license.
Gotcha. No, but definitely talk about that. Because I know even some people will give CBD oil to their children, right, to help with anxiety and their stress, midterms or whatever the case might be. But I never even thought about possibly giving some CBD to an animal, to a dog.
Oh yeah, there's so many health benefits to it. And he's actually my dog. Everybody thinks he's a puppy, but he's 13 years old. And the vet is always like, his blood is incredible. His eyes are incredible. I'm like, well, I give him CBD every day. And I cook him, of course, organic homemade food. So he lives a really good life. But yeah, no, it's great. He started getting, as he was probably around like 9 or 10, he started getting Charlie horses, muscle spasms. In his front two legs, his little shoulder areas. And so, I didn't want to give him prescription, for pain. So I looked into CBD for dogs, and I found it's a really good, like, anti-inflammatory, and it helps to relax them as well. There's a lot of different properties in CBD that can help them. And ever since giving him that, he has not had any more muscle spasms since. Yeah, he's super relaxed. He's already so chill. He's sitting next to me now napping. Okay. But yeah, it's worked wonders. Yeah. Come again?
What type of dog is it?
He's a Chihuahua Pomeranian / meerkat / polar bear / seal pup. Let me show you. Come here, Lance.
Yes. Oh my gosh! Wow. Healthy.
This is Samson Doobie.
Yes, wow. Completely destroyed that nap, right?
Oh, yes. Sorry, bud.
Wow, 13 years old?
13.
I know we're going off complete track, but it was worth it. That was a huge endorsement right there for CBD oil.
Yeah, I love CBD.
Yeah, and just kind of, sticking on that for just a few more moments, I guess, what was the motivation to kind of look into CBD? Was that from a dispensary where they were just saying, hey, you should start looking into CBD oils? That's the next big thing. I guess, where did that come from?
So I did hear it from the shops, obviously, but it was actually a family member of mine who told me about the CBD and how he was using it to help him with his, like, he had a stomach issue. So he found that really relieved his stomach issues and gave him a lot of relief. And so it's helped me a lot with my psoriasis. It helps tame it all and relieve that stress. And the great thing about CBD is it's non-psychoactive. So it needs a little bit of THC to activate it, but there's different ratios. So for instance, they sell like a 1-to-1 CBD ratio, which means you're going to have equal parts CBD as you are the THC. So you will feel a little bit of that high, but it goes all the way up. At the one that I take is 30-to-1. So you don't feel any type of buzz, anything at all. And I'm getting, 30 times the amount of that CBD power.
Gotcha. So, I'm real curious, J. Lauren, with the family aspect, you just mentioned a relative right there, but, with your parents or, even grandparents, I guess kind of what is their whole take? Have they embraced this new cannabis culture that's been around?
So my mom actually works in the medical industry. She's been a nurse for 40 years and done so many different positions in the hospital. She managed the OR at one point. And, she's seen a lot of people in pain. And of course she works hand in hand with the pharmaceutical industry, but she fully believes in marijuana. And, and my dad too, he lives in Washington. So it's a recreational state. He's used to it. And I think, I'm so happy that they're learning more about it and that they're open to it, because it's just being open to it. Even if you were like, I don't want to smoke it, fine, that's all good, but research it, find out how powerful this is and how this might be able to help you in other ways. And so I'm really, really glad that my parents both are super supportive of it. And, I'll stop it there. I don't want to go into anything else about that. As far as they support it.
That's awesome. And just kind of one more thing related to dispensaries. Just kind of what is that vibe and environment like in Los Angeles? I know a lot of people really feel like, again, kind of referencing my Redman discussion that I had with him. He said once, like, there's the East Coast version, and then once you go to the West Coast, it's like it's a new world, right? Like, I think Real from Cypress Hill, like, put them on to, and it's not just the smoking aspect, it's just a culture thing out there. And there's so many different varieties, and like you said, the edibles and topicals, and just so many different experiences out there, and just really delve into what that culture is like.
Yeah, so I haven't experienced the East Coast culture with marijuana, but West Coast, it's like Starbucks. You'll find a weed shop on every corner. There's so many dispensaries, and I think it's beautiful. It's great. It's so laid back, and it's great economically for the state. They're making billions of dollars off this tax money.
Mhm.
So, culturally, tomorrow's 420, it's a great holiday. It brings people together. It's not proven to freaking kill you like alcohol. I mean, it's just, we really need to change things because we promote alcohol and cigarettes all the time. Cigarettes, at least it's got a little less, but alcohol is, every single time you watch TV, you're going to see a commercial on alcohol. And marijuana, like, I just know in a few years it's going to merge into that, and then promoting it. I just think, big pharma just has to support it. But then also, I hope it's in a way where it still supports these independent companies that are doing it on their own, because I'd hate to see, just like what happened with the farmers losing out on, a lot of their business because it turning recreational. I would hate to see that happen to these independent businesses when big pharma does get involved. But yeah, man, it's a cultural thing. It's a vibe. It's cool. It's like, it's just understanding what it is, whether you smoke it or put it on your skin or eat it. It's just like, you're down for the plant. Like, okay, cool. Then it's like an awareness of this new item that's been magically at our fingertips for thousands of years, but we're finally like getting to know about a lot more.
Absolutely, and I know that your family's really embraced it, but there's so many communities, so many different people who are just really misinformed about it, especially marijuana and just cannabis overall. And there's just so many of those negative notions. And I know you have the luxury of being out on the West Coast where it's so embracing, but just kind of getting that message further out, especially as an entertainer, and
Yeah.
feel any obligation to like really, be a super advocate for it, or do you just feel something come naturally? Definitely speak on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a huge advocate for marijuana just because I know what it's done for me personally. But I think it's just like diet or religion. People are stuck in their ways and they love their routines. They like to stick by what they know. And marijuana has been shunned for so long. So a lot of these people on the outside, they think it's a horrible drug. It's a gateway drug. And it's not. Like, this is a medical plant. This is an amazing plant. And so I think if they just give the opportunity to at least learn more about than what they see, they just think stoner on the couch, not doing anything. If they just open their ears and their hearts to learn about how this could help them in so many different ways, I feel like it will really, really broaden the understanding of the plant and, draw more people to being interested in it. Because I know I've watched documentaries and whatnot of people who were against it for so long. And then once they gave it a shot, they found out how amazing it was and how it helped their kids and how it helped them. And then they completely changed their mindset. So it's just doing the research and being open to it. Because at the end of the day, if you're closed off to anything, then nothing's going to get past that wall, So just stay open, I'd say. And I think you can't force anything either upon people. So I think it's just like giving minimal information in a way that will want them to open up.
Gotcha. And I meant to actually ask you this a little bit earlier on, but with the medical license, is there actually an age limit? Because for recreational, I know it's that whole 18 to 21-year-old debate, but as far as being a youth, and I know you said even as a teenager, you had this condition. What type of restrictions are there for teenagers to get a license?
So I know that in California, I don't know if this is for everywhere else, but I do know in California, like, recreational is 21 and up, and then medical is 18 and up. Okay. So they give those few years for people who have a medical license. If you need, that medicine sooner, you can access it earlier. And I think that's a great law. I think that's really, really smart. And I think it should be, treated just like they do with alcohol. Like, you shouldn't be driving and eating edibles at the same time, because you're going to get tired. Like, you might fall asleep at the wheel. Like, just relax. Like, use it smart. Be smart about your consumption. And for children, I think like CBD is great. I think it could help all people of all ages, but I'm definitely not pro like young kids under 18 smoking weed. I definitely think you're in a developmental stage at that time in your life, and it's a really strong substance, and it's a really strong, powerful, magical medicine that you should understand it before you take it with anything in life, And so I definitely encourage the kids to wait until they're 18, do your research on it, figure out why it is you want to smoke it. Don't just do it because it's a culture and you want to do it to be cool. and smoke with Snoop Dogg because it's everyone's dream in life, I think, or maybe just mine. Yeah. But it's just, you know, and so I definitely would encourage the kids, like, wait until you're 18, you know, find it, let's educate these kids in the right way, because we, you know, they're next. So it's our responsibility to give them that knowledge and to guide them in the right way, especially with this upbringing of marijuana becoming legal. So
and to bring it all full circle, J-Lauren, I definitely want to get your take on an ideal cannabis accepting world. What would that be, in your opinion? And you kind of hinted at it, you know, maybe all animals being able to get some CBD.
Yeah.
But definitely give us your take on that.
I'd say just full spectrum legalization. And I think also my perfect world would be a world without plastic. Hemp can replace plastic.
Really?
And it's biodegradable. It can help eliminate so many problems in the world, like, you know, and I feel I'm such an earthly being, and I try to encourage people to be aware of this beautiful planet we live on and to respect it and to love it. And this plant is from the earth. Let's use it. It's proven to be able to be used, again, like I said, for clothing. It can replace plastic. Like, that's huge. So I would say my perfect world would be a world where hemp and cannabis is used all over, and we eliminate anything that's destroying the earth and replace it with friendly weed products.
Absolutely. I know we took up so much of your time, but I want to thank you, J-Lauren, of course, for joining us today. And
thanks for having me.
Let everybody know where they can stalk you and find out everything that you have going on.
Yeah, so my personal page is JLauren808. That's JLAURYN 808, like that Hawaii area code. And then my band page is I Do Sounds. It's IDOSOUNDZ. And yeah, we got that new EP dropping this year with my band I Do. And yeah, follow me, check out my stories, see what's going on. I've been writing for a lot of really big people, so I'm really excited about those songs to come out. And if you follow me, you'll get to see what's going on.
Nice. That is amazing. So thank you again for your time. And of course, thank you, SOHH.com, for being a sponsor. And keep